今天的季后赛采访，我是主持人瑞瑞猪。现在有请 BYG 战队的 AD 选手 Doggo。Hey guys, it's Riri Ju. Here with me for today's post-match winner interview is none other than Beyond Gaming's AD carry Doggo. Doggo, 你好。
大家好，我是 BYG 的 AD Dogo。
So firstly, of course, congrats on today's 3-0 after such a long series. Just what are your thoughts on the series right now? 首先，当然要恭喜 BYG 战队以3-2的成绩战胜了 PSG 战队，拿下本场比赛。对于今天的成绩，大贵选手可以跟我们说一下现在的心情如何呢？
赢了非常开心啊，因为本来就知道 PSG 我们能拿下一两把就已经算是今天的状态拉满，或者是运气很好，所以就非常开心能赢下他们。
So he said, of course, they're extremely happy that they managed to get the win today because usually for them, if they're playing well and if their condition is pretty good, he thinks that for the team to even just take 1 or 2 games off of PSG is already a huge deal for them. So the fact that today they managed to play to all 5 games and at the end of those 5 games, they managed to beat PSG, he's really happy about that. So the next question I gotta ask, I mean, you kind of said it earlier, but did your team expect the series to go to all 5 games with you guys eventually winning PSG in the end? 就是之前采访 Mabel 的时候，他说如果你们 BYG 战队可以调整好心态，那对上你们的话，应该可以算是比较难打。然后之后采访你们的上路小亮选手的时候，他是说，Mabel 说的话其实只是客气一点而已，但今天你们就3-2战胜了 PSG，看来可能是小亮才是客气的吧？想问就是你们今天打了全5局，这个 BO5战胜 PSG，有在团队的预期之内吗？之前？
当然没有啊，我们就能拿一把是一把吧，因为他们到现在还没有输过任何一盘，就只有今天输了，所以当然是非常的开心能拿下他们。
So, Dago said that the team actually did not expect at all that they were going to win today's series. He thinks that like just winning 1 or 2 games was already a big enough feat for them. So I was saying because in a previous interview, when we interviewed Maple, he said that going up against BYG, if BYG were playing at their full potential, they would be a pretty hard opponent to beat. Whereas when we were interviewing BYG's top laner, Lian, he actually said, you know, Maple is just being polite. We don't think that we're going to be that hard of an opponent for them to beat. But today, here we are in BYG beating PSG, but the team says they didn't expect that at all. So with today's win, BYG's ticket to Worlds is already secured as either the PCS first or second seed. So how do you feel about that? Also, has the team started thinking about maybe what their goals for Worlds are at this point, though it's a bit early? 接下来就是想问的就是赢了今天比赛之后，就确定能够代表 PCS 赛区前往今年的世界赛了。那对于这个来说，待会选手心情会如何呢？还有团队有没有想好这次世界赛的目标会是什么呢？
目标就是至少不要那么难看嘛，打得有声有色，拿下一局，拿下一局是一局。
So he said, as to the team's goals for Worlds, they want to be able to play their best. They want to play in a way that makes people watch the games and think, oh, this is BYG and it's them putting up a good performance. As to just in terms of long term goals for Worlds, he says they're really just focusing on 1 game at a time and just 1 opponent, 1 team. So the next question I gotta ask: with your team winning that game number 2 in today's best of 5 series today, you ended PSG's 22 win streak in the PCS summer season. So can you talk to us about how your team made that win happen and made today's series win happen? 接下来想问的就是 BYG 拿下了今天第2场的胜利之后，就终止了 PSG 在夏季赛的0败记录。然后多位选手认为今天能够战胜 PSG，主要的原因会是什么呢？
原因就是我们今天的沟通比训练赛或者是之前比赛还更积极吧，然后状态自从第一把以后好像都非常好，都有调整回来，然后 PSG 状态可能太差了吧，不然今天应该赢的也不是我们。
So he said that he thinks that the team as a whole for BYG, their communication has gotten a lot better. Lately, the team is just communicating to each other a lot better. He thinks that also after dropping game one to PSG, he thinks that the team was able to actually mentally come back from that very well. Yeah, and he says that he thinks that maybe they did that a bit better than PSG for today. And also, he says that, of course, they played to their full potential for BYG. So, the next question that I want to ask you is what do you think the regular season PSG is different from playoffs PSG? In what sort of a way do you think they're stronger or they're weaker? Or do you think maybe it's because your team has gotten a lot better in the playoffs? 接下来想问大卫选手，就你个人会不会觉得例行赛的 PSG 和季后赛遇到的 PSG 有什么不一样？是觉得他们哪边是更强了，或者是你们队伍加强了些什么？
就例行赛的时候，我们打 PSG，感觉没有到一边倒，我们至少还拿过1胜嘛。然后季后赛遇到 PSG 是我曾经跟他们去冰岛训练过了，然后我也带给了我队友这些经验吧。然后就是 PSG，我觉得他们增加了非常血腥的程度，但我们 BYG 也有在加强这方面，所以中野联动是我们最需要的吧。感觉都是加强这方面，然后打架打好就好了。
So he says that as to regular season PSG, BYG didn't actually manage to take a game off of PSG for the regular summer season. He says that because he went with most of the PSG team to MSI, so he has that type of experience in terms of knowing how PSG plays, as well as how PSG train as a team. Comparing their performance as well as BYG's performance, he thinks that one of the things that his team definitely needs to work on is communication between their mid as well as jungle. They need to be able to play that duo a lot better, but he also thinks that that's something that they've been improving on. So, talking about Iceland and MSI, I wanted to ask as well, after you came back from MSI, did your teammates say anything to you like, "Oh, Doggo, you've changed. You're not the Doggo that we knew before." Did they say anything like that? 从冰岛回来之后，队友有没有跟你说什么 "Doggo 你变了"，或者是"你不是我之前认识的 Doggo 吗"？
就回来的时候有很多甲文啊，然后就什么太阳圣剑这边铁嘛，然后辅助就会说什么，你好像已经就好像开玩笑说什么你已经不是我的那个 AD 了，有这种话，但我们相处都还蛮好的。
So he said that jokingly there definitely were those that sort of thing and like phrases being thrown around. He's also seen online kind of like fan fiction that the fans write about the players between Doggo and his team members and his support. He's also seen that as well, but he thinks that I mean the relationship between all the members of his team is very good. So the next question, I wanted to talk to you a bit about Ziggs. Because you had that MVP performance on Ziggs over in game number 4. We've kind of seen some other AD carries from the other PCS teams kind of struggle a bit in terms of adapting to the Ziggs and Syndra AD carry meta. So I wanted to just kind of pick your brain a bit about that and ask you like how you're able to play Ziggs so well, or what you feel the difference between playing Ziggs as an AD carry and like the other regular AD carries and what that difference is. 接下来想问的就是关于 最近的版本，还有包括选手今天就第4场的希克斯 MVP 表现，最近感觉 PCS 其他队伍的 ADC，感觉有一些选手是可能还没适应到最近这个希克斯还有辛德拉AD 的版本，然后想问大卫选手，个人认为就这个玩法跟玩一般的 AD 打起来，你觉得最大的不同会是什么呢？
最大的不同就是，因为你正常如果一开始就在玩下路的人，你就是指向自己的角色不会特别多，就是像辛朵拉和希克斯这种角色就是要一直丢，就是准确率跟一般只玩射手的人会差蛮多的啦，然后就可能要比其他人更下功夫去练。
So he thinks that if you're a natural AD carry player, or if you're the type of League of Legends player who traditionally has just been maining ADC, then champions such as Ziggs, such as Syndra, will not be as natural for you because they have a lot of projectile skills, which you won't really be as used to coming from playing all the other normal AD carry champions. So he thinks that in order to just learn that type of positioning and just the way to use those skills, it requires a lot of practice. For an ADC player to have to put in. So the next question I wanted to ask you really quickly: how difficult is it to play versus Kai Wing's Thresh? Just especially the way that he tends to predictive hook you, like we saw in that. I mean, he landed a lot of them. For example, there was this one part in game number 4, towards 16 and a half minutes in, over in the bot side, where they hit the blasting cone and he shot a predictive hook through the bush, but you managed to predict his hook and flash out of that one. So I wanted to ask, do you feel a lot of pressure playing against that? Is it like the mind games where you have to predict his prediction, what's going on? 接下来想问的就是对上凯文的斯雷西的预判钩会给你很大的困难吗？或者在对线上的压力会很大吗？
我是觉得第一盘的压力有点大，但我有带进化，然后就第一盘都已经遇过了，那后面的这一期就随便给他勾，感觉就是比较算是猜得到他在干嘛，因为熟悉了，熟悉了。
第一场的时候，就是游戏到16分半的时候，他好像是从草丛里，试着预判勾你，然后你是闪现躲掉他的勾，你会觉得是不是有一种要预判他的预判的感觉吗？
呃，因为那边是没有视野的，我觉得往我最想跑的地方跑，我也不知道，我就按个 W 看到人我赶快跑，
哦。
能把那个逃生技能按一按，赶快跑，被抓到了那也没有办法。
So he said I did feel the pressure, especially in game number 1 when he was versus Kai Wing's Thresh. Game number 1, he did take that cleanse, but then somewhere towards the early part of the game, he did get hooked by Kai Wing's Thresh. After that, he said he kind of felt a bit more relaxed, and he was like, you know what, if I'm gonna get hooked, I'm gonna get hooked, so be it. So he started to relax a bit more after that. I think by game number 4, he was feeling a bit better. I brought up there was this about the instance over in this 16 and a half minute, the blast cone at the bottom part. He said he wasn't actually trying to predict Kai Wing's predictive hook. He didn't have vision of him in the bush. He was in his mind, he was just thinking, I'm gonna run, I'm just gonna run as fast as I can, I'm gonna press W, my only escape skill on Ziggs, and try to make it out. So that worked out. Now, the last question that I have for you, Dago, is if PSG make it into the finals again on Sunday, what do you think the results will be? Are you confident of beating them again in Sunday's finals if they win tomorrow? 最后的问题就是，如果后天在决赛中再次遇到 PSG 的话，你一样有十足的信心能够拿下胜利吗？跟今天一样
今天运气比较好，然后没有十足的信心，希望那天运气也好一点，就这样。
？So he thinks He doesn't really have that much confidence that BYG will be able to beat PSG again on Sunday. He thinks that today they managed to win because of luck and that they were lucky. He says for Sunday, if they do face PSG again, he hopes that they're equally lucky or even more lucky. All right, thank you so much, Dago, for today's interview. Of course, good luck in Sunday's finals. 好的，那非常感谢 Dago 选手接受今天的赛后采访。祝 BYG 后天的决赛加油！主播陪你们咯。
谢谢，拜拜。
好的，各位观众，欢迎回来。我突然发现，这样子在这一次的季后赛，我们几乎所有的主播赛评都播满5场。哦，之前布蛋播满嘛，然后汤米老三播满嘛，然后现在我跟你也播满了。哦，
都播满了。哎，
但是你有没有发现有一个人还没播满？
谁
？ZOD 老师。
那我只能说啊，明天他播这个手心手背都是肉啊，人在曹营心在汉呐。PSG 打 J 战队。
恭喜塔隆 ZOD 对上这个 J Team
进退两难，
手心手背都是肉。
没错，但明天也很精彩。